Hey, good afternoon. We are looking at two different tools here for two different platforms, one of which is for NinjaTrader and one of which is for TradingView. And this week, I'm going to try to give it equal time for both sides so we can sort of discuss the advantages of each of those things. In a nutshell, we're here to review the techniques and processes that allow us to look for the times in the future that movements are likely to occur, buying signals and selling signals, and discuss how we actually prove to people that these things exist. We'll talk about the forecasts that we're able to provide and allow people to test for themselves whether or not this is in fact real. But in essence, I want to start out by saying that the process is so transparent that it passes all of the smell tests, meaning there's nothing we can do to change the signals once we publish them. We've been telling people what to do possibly with the signals when they arrive, and then we just simply add the results up when we're finished to see how they did. No more, no less. And so there's really no way for us to jury rig this to make it look better than it is. There's no way for us to curve fit it. There's no guru component where you need me around to tell you what to do. We're going to get to a simple pass-fail answer here towards the end of this. And so really the question that we're asking is, if trading is about understanding what the future holds, why are people looking at lagging indicators? Why are they looking at any one of a number of things that have already happened? Things that have already happened can be used to obfuscate what is about to happen. We now know from various reports, from all sorts of penalties and fines that have been paid, that banks no longer play fair. In fact, a recent report said that most of the trading is occurring in dark pools. They've already placed their trade by the time it gets to you. And more than 3/4 of the trades, I believe, are happening with high frequency algorithms. So the ship has kind of sailed on leveraging the stuff that used to work. And if you've been trading for a minute, you know that it's getting harder and harder to make a dollar with the stuff that used to be marginally okay. And we're sort of faced with this question of, if trading is about the future, then we need to be looking at time. The element of time, the component of time, leveraging that and understanding what markets hold for us 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day out into the future, using time as a lever, sort of ameliorates all the issues that we had if we're looking at lagging indicators and tools and ICT and ABC and elemental P and volume and candle patterns and trend lines and fill in the blank of the garbage behind us. Ultimately, we're playing on an unlevel field against people who have no remorse. There's no legal or financial recourse if they break the law, if they hide their trades, if they spoof. No one goes to jail. No one ever gets caught. No one has to pay for what they've done. And so what I'd like to start out with is a representation of what the program does and doesn't do. And before we start that, again, just to give it sort of equal time, I want you to remember that there are two ways now to get started with this in your respective universes. There is a TradingView component called Kronos, and there is a NinjaTrader component now called TachEon Warp. So TachEon Kronos, TachEon Warp. I want to show you what the differences are and how we leverage them. A large component of what we do involves data mining for both Kronos and Warp. Data mining is the idea that there are historical patterns that we can reference. Historical patterns that we can reference that tell us something about the behavior patterns of the market participants. So what that means is if there is a time where markets are being pushed higher or lower in the past, over and over and over again, we get a signal to the right-hand side of the current bar. Meaning, if the markets are being driven up on the 3-minute chart in the E-mini S&P over and over and over again, we're made aware of that fact before we get to 345 in the future. I use this example all the time, and I think it really drives home that idea. When I order something from Amazon, I know that it gets to my house between 10 and 10:30. The driver who works the route where I live brings the box up the driveway to my door between 10 and 10:30 every day. If the box isn't there by 10:30, it's not coming. And so, in that very same real sense, there's a signal waiting for us on Kronos in the future at the 16:30 timestamp. And that's telling me that historically, over thousands of historical bars, the market has been dropping at 16:30. And when I was alerted to that fact over here at 15:45, it was just the opposite polarity. The program was telling me that there was a historically recurring anomalous time pattern. It shouldn't exist. And yet, over and over again lately, more often than not, a discretion-free, emotionless robot, 33,000 lines of NinjaTrader code, some 8,000 lines, I think, of TradingView code, discovered this behavior pattern. And before 1345 arrived, warned me there's something likely to happen now. So on the NinjaTrader side of things, I wanted to look at the daily chart for gold because it's about as locked in as it can get right now. How high can gold go? I don't know. The 3,000 level seems to be an emotional barrier for people, but the chart exemplifies how the program works. The program tells me where I am in time right now. You are here. And now everything to the right of that white line is a warning. It's warning me now on a daily scale that selling pressure could occur here, buying pressure could occur here, and selling pressure could occur here. I have sent these signals months ago to renowned market analysts, people who are interviewed on Fox Business and CNBC, and I've got no response or return from them. None. I've sent them these dates from here forward on when gold was going up and going down, not so much as a peep back electronically. And at first I was insulted. At first I felt overlooked and diminutized. I didn't feel very important. You throw your life at this work, and when you come across something this incredible, you're waiting for that night at the Oscars or the Grammys or the Emmys, somebody to come up and pat you on the back. But then I realized after 16 years of doing this, no one is coming. You guys, the community of traders and users, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is what I care about. This is what I lay awake at night hoping I can do better with. Those guys have a vested interest in the way things always are and always will be, and they want people lost in the noise of the fundamentals and their crazy analyses that in the end have a 50-50 chance of working, and probably less than that. But in this case, if we're looking to see what happened at the times we were waiting for something to happen, you start to see where the signals were marked with a white dot where we were expecting buying pressure, and marked with a blue dot when we were expecting selling pressure. And so when you ask the question, why do I care about the sell signal on the 21st and the buy signal on the 14th and the sell signal on the 28th? We care because of what's happening historically at those behavior patterns. That's why we care. We've shown a flashlight on something nobody wants us to see or believes we'll even ever notice. And I've been showing the dates for gold now for almost a year. And so when I warned everybody the turning point in gold was coming on February 17th, I have the receipts, I have the webinars, I have the recordings. All of these recordings going all the way back to here are in the public record. They're published on our YouTube channel, and I reference this weekly. So you have a running history of the phenomenon in real time. You saw these dates. Look how far in the future I can pull them out. We're looking into July of this year and August. Those times won't change, disappear, reappear, or any of the other shenanigans. Now, Kronos, very similar format and output. We have blue lines that are vertically oriented with a timestamp on them. We have white lines that are vertically oriented with a timestamp on them. And inside of the TradingView network, we're able to go back historically into the past and send the code this way. And if there are any times that are consistently reversing and going up, the program will alert us to that time in the future. We're catching banks with their hands in the time cookie jar, in the time cookie jar. And if there are any times historically where these reversals are occurring at more or less the same time, we alert you to the fact in the future. There's a time that keeps pushing prices lower. Not 100% of the time. Nothing we ever do in trading is 100%. But enough of a time, enough times rather, enough times to warrant a warning. And so today on the E-mini S&P 3-minute chart with Kronos, we were alerted to a sell potentially at 209, alerted to a buy potentially at 233, alerted to a sell at 254, a buy at 315, a sell at 324, and then a buy, last signal so far, at 345. And when you start to add these things up from the open to where we are right now on the NQ, is a $34 move. Is a $34 move, which is $600. The prior move over here, if you bought over at that signal until the next signal, is a $39 move or an $800 move. The short from here to here was a $15 move, 40 plus 40 plus 15. It starts to add up. It starts to add up. So Tim, the difference between Kronos and Warp is limited by the program constraints of TradingView as opposed to Warp. So Tim, on this side, you'll see, let's go down to the E-mini S&P, and we'll drive this down to a 3-minute chart. Let's let it catch up. So Tim, what's happening over here is the settings by necessity are different. Warp inside of the NinjaTrader framework allows us to load a nearly unlimited, a veritably unlimited amount of data. So the signals on this chart, Tim, are 2 weeks into the past. We're able to reach 2 weeks into the past because NinjaTrader gives us that much historical data. Fun fact, over here, the program with TradingView only lets us go back 1 week of data intraday. So Tim, there's a problem if we have to go back further than 1 week if we're looking at a 2-week look back with Warp. So apples to apples, TradingView, we're using a 1, 2, 3 look back with trading days to overcome or circumvent that. Does that make sense, Tim? Where over here, we're looking at a calendar 714. There's 2 limitations that TradingView imposes on us. Number 1 is the amount of historical data that we're allowed to analyze. And number 2, the number of lines of code available to us in the PineScript editor. They actually put a constraint on how many lines of code you can upload into a program. Warp has 33,000. Extensive database management. Kronos, not so much. So we're still able, though, to get to the root of that problem, right? And so whatever market we're looking at, if it's Bitcoin or the E-mini S&P, we can quickly get an answer and get access to those signals and see that same kind of, where am I locked into here? Oh, I need the cursor tool, sorry. We can still see that same output with the kind of accuracy that you're used to seeing with Warp. It's just a smaller database to look back through. We can sift through about, there's 1,440 minute, 1,440 minute bars in a day times 3. That's about 4,500 bars historically of analysis, as opposed to the 2 weeks of database. Any questions about what the program is doing in relation to what other programs have historically done? So right now on Bitcoin, for example, I just loaded this chart to see we have this double top that occurred right now at 14:12 Eastern time. The signals will appear on your computer clock. The prior signal in Bitcoin was at 3:42 Eastern, and we had this move. So when we arrive at 17:12 in the future, we come with an expectation that this might happen again. When we arrive here at 16:24, we come with an expectation that it might happen again. And whether we're looking at a 3-minute chart or a 15-minute chart, we can adjust the time frame and the scale of it to see what was occurring at the signals historically versus where we are right now. We're waiting for the signals in the future. These moves should not occur as well as they do. None of these signals should work. None of them should work. Okay? So Tim, one of the other features that Warp has over Kronos is, because we're limited by the number of lines of code that we can use, we're not able to program in the patterns, so people have to reference the guidebook. So the guidebook, which is in your GoToWebinar handouts section right now, freely offered, warns us what can happen with some of the signals, and Warp will automatically apply these onto the chart. Kronos, with TradingView, we don't have enough program room to do it. So you sort of have to have the book available or memorize them eventually. So in this case, guys, you can see we had a signal at 10:30 this morning on Bitcoin, and it is a higher structural high. And the candle itself right here is the highest high. And if you'll indulge me for just one moment, and I'll explain why in a second, you'd say to yourself, well, Michael, that signal sucks. It went down, dude. It didn't go up. Well, yeah. There's a phenomenon in time where inversions occur. The signal goes in the exact opposite direction. And we've mechanized the definition of when an inversion should occur. So here in this case, just kind of follow along with me, and this is one of the differences between Kronos and Warp. But it still gets you the information that we can act on, right? So over here we have the prior, let me draw right there. We have the prior swing high, and then we come up into a brand new high, and this candle is the highest high of all of them. Okay? So now, over here, a pattern 5 or an inversion signal says, hey, if you arrive at a buy signal time and it's the highest high relative to the previous swing, put an arrow over it. Because when that happens, this tends to happen. And this is an example from the 2016 1-minute NQ chart. So Tim, in this instance, look, it's the highest high. It's the highest high of the recent swing on the buying signal, and we expect it to go backwards. So with just a few minutes of training and looking through the book as you arrive at each signal and comparing it to the guide, you would have known to look for a reversal or a short in Bitcoin right here at 1030. Warp is going to put that arrow in automatically and throw the number 5 underneath it. Now, same thing occurs over here at 245. Watch. At 245, the program says, hey, if you arrive at a selling pressure signal, in this case, a blue dot, and either that candle, the one to the right or the left, are brand new structural lows, then we expect it to start to go up. So Tim, check it out. We don't have that feature in Kronos. We don't have the programming space yet, unless TradingView opens up some more lines of code. But look, there are 3 candles, one on either side of the signal candle, and the one to the left of it has the lowest low of all of the swings. This is the lowest low of the candle. And so you could put an arrow underneath it, recognize that it's a number 4, and expect Bitcoin to go back up just by using this book, which is 8 years old. Does that make sense? So 5s and 4s and 6s and 7s, they still exist, but over on the Warp side of things, we can come into the code and uncheck the signals box, and now Warp is going to automatically apply those pattern numbers. There's a 2, there's a 2, there's a 1, there's a 1, there's a 2. So that's one of the differences, Tim, between Warp and Kronos. You see that pattern 5 right here? So Dave, when you're talking to customers about this, one of the inconveniences, there's a number 4 with the NinjaTrader version, there's a number 5 with the NinjaTrader version, and it matches up with what the book was telling us to see. But because we have more lines of code with NinjaTrader, we can program that in. With Kronos, it's still there. You just need a few more brain cells, 3 or 4 more brain cells to actually recognize it when it's happening. And so that's an additional tool. Any questions about the difference between Kronos for TradingView and Warp for NinjaTrader? Okay, cool. I wanted to tell you guys about a post that I made for Tesla in relation to the pattern 4 that we just spoke about. So while we're here, let me just mention this because it's important for some of you who are trading stocks. When you have a pattern 4, there's usually a push back up or a fish hook. It'll come down and start to go and then rise up out of that low. And I put a post on our Instagram page today, but I wanted you to notice something. It's already violated the swing low. When it comes up and then goes back through, we generally put our stop above the prior swing, in this case, right here. And now I'm expecting 100% and 200% of this space on the way down. This is Tesla on a daily chart, okay? So this is a selling pressure signal. It did qualify as a pattern 4. We did have an initial surge up and it came back, but per this page of your histogram book, page 25, the fact that we've nicked through this low tells me there's a high likelihood now of us coming down even lower into lower lows. The pattern 4 trend continuation has been satisfied on Tesla using the signals that we're following with time. If we look at notes right now, you'll also see that the treasury notes, when we come in on the daily chart, put in a pattern 5. If you memorize it, you can see it. Otherwise, you could activate it on the code. And I just want you to see right here on the notes how we came into the buy signal right here, Tim, right? It's a brand new high relative to the structural lows. There's the prior swing. Here's the new swing. Brand new high. And can you see how notes are starting to fall now? I'm expecting that to continue until March 13th. So the pattern 5 that we were just talking about that doesn't automatically appear on Kronos but can on Warp has automatically appeared, and now we're seeing that take place. Bonds, same scenario. We did manage to close above the 120 period moving average. We are coming into a sell signal here on the 6th, which was today. If we close below that moving average, it's worth shorting until March 17th. Okay, so bonds here, we did see this little gasp of fresh air up above. My estimation is that based on what I'm seeing here now, that we could see it retest this trend line down around 115.16 based off of that signal that's coming up. Bitcoin on a daily chart, man, that thing is just, it's just surprising to me what's going on. We did talk about it a few weeks back when we mentioned this signal here on February 2nd. We called this a black banana setup. Remember the black banana we talked about last week? If you ever buy a banana and you leave it sitting on your countertop, after a while you had good intentions, but the banana starts to rot a little bit. It starts to get a little smelly, right? And you're like, ugh, I don't want to eat that. It's not ripe anymore. And what happened in Bitcoin was that when we got to this buy signal and we were waiting for banks to push it up, they were trying, but it wasn't going anywhere. It had stalled. It was languishing. And I warned all of you that the price would drop on the 20th until the 26th of February. Now, right here, we had this huge bar up and then this huge bearish engulfing bar back down. People are trying. It's not dropping right here. And so we're sort of seeing that black banana in reverse. Bitcoin at the moment is not dropping when it was supposed to. So until we're below 923, I'm bullish on Bitcoin and watching for this next signal to occur on March 11th. I want to see where we are on March 11th. If we haven't put in a new low by then, I'm fairly certain that we'll see a significant move coming on March 11th. Why? Because of what happened on the 4th, the 19th, the 11th, the 31st, and what almost happened on the 2nd. At the very least, you were break even on your trade by the time the next sell signal came in. Oil's just crazy, man. Oil's crazy. With all the uncertainty in the world, I thought for sure the price of oil was going to rise. There is significant support for oil along this 64.86 level, and that's kind of where we are back now. The selling signal on February 26th was the one that was last up in the lineup, and so far we've fallen from 70.55 down to 66.37. So there is significant support here, but the next buying signal doesn't get here until March 29th. So I'm expecting the market to potentially play along at this level, possibly close below and retest it before March 29er. So again, these are all dates that we're putting out in the public discourse so that you guys have an opportunity to see it and hold me accountable to what's taking place. Now, here's what's really cool. I don't expect anyone to believe anything I ever say, right? I really, truly don't. I think I come across as an intelligent person. I think I've made some significant discoveries over the course of my life here, and I've shared them all willingly with you guys. But I don't expect anyone to believe anything I ever say, except if I put my money where my mouth is. And I've had meetings with people all week this week. It's been a very interesting week. How many of you are in this webinar today who received an ad in your Facebook feed, or you saw something and clicked on it and you're seeing us for the first time? Anybody here this week that's seeing us for the first time? You saw us on a Facebook thing or got an email from us and you're checking us out? There's been a few of you. Well, we publish these times in the future. And if you look at this NQ 1 minute chart, these are the histogram times that were added 4 days ago. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. And so the program, we're able to look that far forward into the future and see the behavior patterns that we're expecting for Thursday on Monday. All of these times were for today, and they were published on Monday. Okay, so now that's significant because why? I'll show you why. These are the signals that are farthest from the forecasts. Meaning if I publish them on Monday, all of these times right here are as far away from Monday as you can get. They are the least likely, right? If we have time versus likelihood, the likelihood of these working the further we get from Monday should be lower and lower and lower, unless the premise of what I'm telling you is real. If these times are as important as they are, if I believe that, then when we get to these signals, we should see them. 243, 249, 314, 323. Ready? Here we go. NQ, ES 1 minute. Let's go to the NQ. Make sure it's apples to apples. While I'm doing that, I'll get rid of my drawing tools. It's calculating, calculating, calculating. There they are. These are the times that I just had on my screen. 333, 346, 208, 243, 249, 314, 323, 329, 338. There they are. Why is the NQ going up and down at these times with this kind of regularity? Why are the highs and lows marked by our signals about half of the time? Look at this morning. You ready to have your brain blown? Let's blow your brain. Here we go. 917, 917, 940, 940, 1026, 1026, 1043, 1043. Let's do the bottom ones. Ready? We'll come up here. 1037, 1037, 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 11:20, 11:20. The times from how many days ago? 4 days ago. I'm appealing to the part of you that's sick and tired of losing. I'm appealing to the part of you that's been burned by every webinar guy in the past with his 1986 PowerPoint and his Ferris Bueller presentation, where today we're looking at the ICT fair value gap setup. This one setup will make you $1 gazillion and very attractive to the ladies in your immediate vicinity. Once a fair value gap, it's just so disgusting. Oh, there should be a law, a purge, but there's not. I'm talking to that part of you who sat through all that crap and bought it anyway. And for some reason, you get to my webinar and you have standards. You have been a very bad trader and purchaser of things up until now. And when you get to this webinar, all of a sudden you have standards. All of a sudden you go, I don't know. Look, I'm appealing to that part of you. Look at what happened on the NASDAQ, the market that everyone loves to hate. Tell me why you're not hurting your ankles running across the living room to pay for this program right now. Tell me why all of a sudden this is the program you're not going to buy when you had so much proof. When I gave you the times and directions 4 days ago, if all you did was buy and sell and buy and sell and buy and sell from the econ to lunchtime, you could pay for the program 5 times over. I won't even add it up. We can look at just one setup from here to here. That is a $173 move times $20 is $1,400 plus $2,000. That one move is $3,400. And I told you it was coming 2 days ago. That's one move. And today I was talking to a gentleman in Boston. He was a trader. He buys and sells on every bar. And he wanted a free trial. He wanted me to pay him to use the program. And I went through all these times with him and he couldn't see it. It was like he was blind, willfully ignoring what I'm showing you here, which is, again, the game is rigged. These guys were going to buy and sell at all of these times, regardless of the unemployment figures, regardless of the inventory, regardless of the tariffs. It's an inside game, and none of you have tickets to the mahogany-laden office. But when you get to my webinar, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just spent 10 grand in West Palm Beach and I got shrimp sandwiches and they let me write some stuff down on a yellow legal pad. But this seems a little outrageous. All of a sudden, when I show you this, when I show you the signals for the largest movements in gold weeks and months in advance, everybody freaks out. Why? Why? Because it doesn't end today. I'm literally looking at tomorrow's signals now. I'm looking at tomorrow's signals now. They never change. They never update. They never disappear. They never reappear. They're waiting for me like planes taking off and landing at an airport. And all you have to do is manage your risk when you get there. All you have to do is manage your risk. Can you not trade like a caveman over here? Can you not risk the mortgage payment every time you step up to the plate? Can you respect these stops and stay in the trade for as long as the program is telling you to? Because if you can do all that, I can help you. But if you're going to trade like an idiot again and do all the idiot things that you've been doing for years and years and years because somebody taught you that was okay, somebody taught you could trade for 2 ticks with a 200 tick stop. Oh my God, remember that person? I do. So it's not just the NASDAQ. We could go through all the different charts. We could look at oil, we could look at gold, we could look at any one of these signals, but it's going to be the same. I can look at gold or the DAX or the euro currency, the euro dollar, the pound dollar. I can look at Ethereum. It's all going to be the same kind of stuff. I gave you those signals in advance. Okay, any questions about that? I got a little preachy there, but honestly, I've spent the entire week with people who were just, all of a sudden, they're armchair geniuses, even though they've spent millions of dollars on garbage. And when I tell them, hey, I know when the high and the lows of the markets are going to be and how long to stay in the moves and do the things, all of a sudden, I'm the person they're not going to do it with. Here's oil futures today. Does it look like somebody had a plan when they were going to buy and sell oil futures today? Can you see the stop runs? Can you see where they came out and tripped out the stops and where you could have bought and sold? What if we change the time frame? What if we go higher to a 5-minute time frame? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, it sure looks like you could have gotten in front of some really sweet moves. Can you imagine sitting here and you know that this signal is coming up at 11 o'clock and you're just watching it go lower and lower and lower, and it retests that trend line right here. It retests it again, and you're just like, oh, let me go. And now you hold it all the way until 1240. Or if you turn the program on and you check the dot and you said here, I want to know about pattern 4s and 5s. And now when the econ came out, you saw up here on this candle a pattern 5 right there. And you said, wait a minute, I know what that is. Michael taught me about that in the webinar. Can you imagine if you saw that at 10:05 this morning? How would you have traded differently if you knew when the moves were likely to come, how long to stay in them, and when to get out? Here's gold futures. Same thing. What if you knew when to get in and when to get out? And it's not just today. It happened yesterday. There's the times yesterday that I gave you. What if you shorted gold at 820 right at the econ? What if you had the cojones to actually hold it all the way until 9:30? You'd be done for the day. And your risk was right above these candles. But it's not just yesterday. They did it the day before. And they did it the day before that. And they did it the day before that. They keep doing it. And guess what? Here are the times for tomorrow. They're all here. There they are. That's their plan. Right? If you load Ethereum, it's a cryptocurrency. This shouldn't work at all. And yet, why? Because time can't be fooled. You can't bypass time. They can't fake time. It's like faking gravity. Jamie Dimon can't get past this. Goldman Sachs can't obfuscate when they make these moves. They can't. but no one believes me when I show this to them. So they have cover. Here's Bitcoin on a 5-minute chart. Bitcoin's random. It's the currency of the people. Not anymore. Bitcoin is no longer the currency of the people. Here are the times for Bitcoin. They don't change, they don't disappear, they don't reappear. I already have them for tomorrow right here. That's it. And so whether we're using this platform or we decide to come up to TradingView, load up Kronos again, and I say, hey, maybe I want to look at the Trump coin. Let's look at Trump coin on a 60-minute chart. You tell me if Trump coin is manipulated. You tell me if Trump coin is manipulated or not. That's a random cryptocurrency. This is where everybody in Sheboygan bought it. This is where Trump guys sold it. This is where everyone in Wisconsin bought it and where Trump guys sold it. This is where everybody in Staten Island bought it and Trump guys sold it again. You know where they're going to buy it? Here. You know when they're probably going to sell it? Here. You know when they're going to probably buy it again? Here. You know when they're probably going to sell it again? Here. Why? Because it keeps happening over and over and over again. Look at this chart and tell me how random Trump coin trading is. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph and the Kwanzaa tree. How much more proof do you need that you're not doing it right, that you're being fleeced, that the banks are having a field day with your brokerage account? They have a plan every day of the year. And we're hacking it. 16 years, guys. We've been hacking this thing for 16 years. And the people who sat in this webinar before you and could write anything they want all came back and said, excellent. Except 2 people who gave us a 1-star. Every one of these people who came here and could write whatever they wanted. Time Warp works, completely different than anything you've seen. Enjoy the ride. Stop looking and settling for indicators that don't work. Excellent software, amazing system. These tools were the missing piece for me. That's the second prong of my trident of proof. I give you the times in advance. We come and we look at them together. And then I ask you to go look at, see what people said about us when they could say anything. I'm not related to these people. They don't make money from me. These are people. Read their own words. Some of them can't spell, their grammar's bad, their punctuation's off. They're normal people like us. And they've sat in this webinar and seen what you've seen and then taken the risk on your behalf to come back and say on the other side of the fence, do it. Here we go. Biggest moment of your life, right here. If you're trading and this is your life, trading is your life, on the website, you're going to go to Trading Tools. If you want TachEon Warp, there's a lifetime license for it. By the way, how do you like the new website? If you want it, click the Buy Now button. There's a promo code that you can apply, WARPOFF. 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 Hit apply. It's going to take $500, and that's a lifetime license for NinjaTrader. Lifetime license for NinjaTrader. You're done. You have this. Whatever you have a data feed for in NinjaTrader, you want to look at stocks and equities and daily charts and things with the kinetic feed, fine. You want to look intraday at currencies and currency pairs and futures and commodities, fine. This works on 5-second charts out to daily and weekly charts on NinjaTrader. Okay, that's option number 1. Okay, Kronos, I use TradingView. I hate NinjaTrader. It sucks. Whatever you think, that's fine. Go back to the website and scroll past the NinjaTrader option, and you'll see Kronos for TradingView. Click on the Learn More button. Again, more information, videos on how it all works if you want to come back through again. And you have an entry ramp, $249 for every 30 days. I had a meeting with a customer today. He trades the 1-minute NASDAQ. We had one signal. It went $800. I want to show you. I was in a meeting with a guy today. Where's his trade? There it is. One signal. At 329, we were up $445 together. We shorted it at 208. We were up $500 today. The monthly price for Kronos is 249. It's going up to 295. It was 195. These are introductory prices. We want to make a big splash with TradingView people. Never in the history of our time signals was there a way to start with so little risk. So click on that button, get the indicator. Minutes later, you're looking at the signals. You want to trade Trump coin, knock yourself out. You want to trade gold, oil, currencies. You want to look at Tesla. I don't care. I care that tomorrow you're going to wake up, if you don't have this tool, and trade like Ray Charles in a China shop. You're going to make all the mistakes you usually make, feel sad like you usually feel sad, feel ashamed, feel angry when it hits your stop and goes to your target, takes you out at break even, and then goes in the direction you were expecting it to. Every trade you went long goes short, every short goes long, and you could have been sitting here waiting patiently. Low risk, bet a nickel to make a dime or a quarter over and over and over again. That's what you have. Two powerful choices. Kronos for TradingView, Warp for NinjaTrader. Let's go. Let's go. The world is not Candyland. It is not Chutes and Ladders. There are no YouTubers or influencers that can save you. They're clickbait. They get paid when you watch their stuff. When you buy their $1 e-course, they're getting paid. They're selling your names and email addresses to other clickbait people, to other influencers and marketers. There is a very small circle of people who've actually figured out something. I believe we have something. 16 years. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Best system I've ever used. Excellent. Webinar after webinar. 50 webinars a year times 15 years, the same results. Half of the signals at the top and the bottom of the moves. Win after win, small loss after small loss. It's monopoly, and the stakes have never been higher. The banks trade more than 50% of their trades in dark pools where no one sees. 1% of the world owns more than 50% of the equity. No one goes to jail. No one knows what's in the algorithms. No one knows which senators or Congress people are attached to this stuff. They're removing the laws and regulations that we had from the Great Recession, peeling them away like skin from an orange, hard as they can go right now. And with that comes volatility. With that comes huge moves. And you could be sitting at the bottom or the top of those moves, looking at your own 4s and 5s and 1s and 2s and saying, now's the time. I waited 92 minutes for this signal. Now's my time. And when the trade is finished, I leave. I wait for the next signal, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days from now. The choice is yours. Any questions about any of this stuff before I finish up here today? This has been kind of a crazy webinar, and I've been a little insane, and I apologize for my emotions, but I've worked with some pretty crazy people. You are getting old. Gig's been with us one of the longest of all of the customers since we opened back in '09, and I'm grateful to you and to others who supported us in the early days. This is not your father's Oldsmobile. Over 33,000 lines of code in Warp. Big announcement coming regarding that, by the way. Watch your emails. A program for a trading platform that has over 4 million viewers a day. 4 million people a day. We're coming. We're coming for them. We're going to spread the gospel of time until everyone knows what these guys are doing from their penthouse apartments in Manhattan. I'm not going to stop. No one can keep me quiet. But you got to meet me halfway. Support the cause. Get in here. Take these trades. Tell your friends and family. Let them know that there's a better way to trade. And tell them to not be so picky when they get to us. Remind them all the garbage that they bought before they found us. I'm tired of fighting with you guys. It's grinding me. I love you. I appreciate you. Please take me up on the offer, and let's go. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your faces. May the valleys rise up to meet you. May the mountains lay low before you on your journey. I wish you peace. I wish all of us fellowship and prosperity and health and community, fulfillment in the things that bring us joy. I wish us reconciliation, hands reaching down to others who need help, reaching up to others when we need help. I wish us light in a world of darkness and anger and division. I think this program accomplishes a lot of those things. It equips us to be fluid and flexible, prosperous enough to make a change, to influence the communities in ways that we want to, with charities, with our time, with our travels. Take what I've built for you and do something great with it. That's my wish and plan for all of us this week, and I wish you guys the best. Thank you to our new customers and old alike. We'll see you on the flip side. Great trading tomorrow, and may your minders be green. May you walk away when your daily goal is hit, and don't you dare sit back down in that chair when you do. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.